I followed my dreams and opened an antique store to have adventures and spend time as a family. Sometimes you have to climb a mountain and open some new doors to find the treasures inside. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc.
Hey everyone, so today we're doing another unboxing. I had a little cardboard box dropped off here at the shop. The fellow used to work for the Edmonton Oilers, which is an NHL team if you're not familiar with them, here in Edmonton where I am. And back in the 80s when he worked for them, they won a lot of Stanley Cups, amazing team, Wayne Gretzky. Anyway, really popular stuff here, and they do have a good global audience too. So when he said that some of the stuff in this box was from that time frame, I didn't hesitate to purchase a box off him. So we paid $200 for this box. We're gonna go through it and see if there's a hope of us getting our money back out of it. So let's dig through and see if we did well for the shop here and hopefully find some treasure. Here we go. Okay, so you never know what's gonna be in a box like this when you first open it up and go through. But working for the team themselves, I'm sure he got all kinds of neat stuff, like little sunglasses. Stanley Cup 1985. So those must have been given out at the Stanley Cup game, maybe to people that worked for the company. A little swag gift, still in the plastic, kind of cool. Tin, it's empty. Torino 2006. Okay, so there's a little bit of newer stuff mixed in here too. So tin probably not overly valuable. Sunglasses, I have to check on those. I mean, those are labeled Stanley Cup 1985. Someone who's a big Oilers fan might think that's cool. And aviators have kind of come back into fashion. Let's see. Molson, Edmonton Oilers, little portfolio. At the time, Molson was a sponsor. They've since their little factory that was here downtown is gone. It's now become a retail complex. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good sign right off the bat. There are signatures aplenty on this. It looks like just about every player. That looks like Yari Curry. And this is maybe a roster sheet or a score sheet from the game. And what game? 87 Stanley Cup championship game. Okay, that's pretty good. May 31st. Series 7, Game 7. So this is the end of the Stanley Cup series. We've got all the names of the players and how they did, how many shots on goal, how many goals, if they got penalties, roughing, charging. There's a lot of guys in here that ended up getting thrown in the penalty box that day. Look, there's Wayne Gretzky right there, center. He scored a couple times, it looks like. Had quite a few shots on goal. So there's a few from different years in here. 1986 and then 1989. So some early Oilers stuff. And yeah, that's Wayne Gretzky right there. So he doesn't sign a whole lot of stuff, but it's pretty cool that this is signed. And yeah, 1981-82 Molson Cup winner. Pretty neat. So this is probably from, early to mid 80s from the looks of things when this was happening. So this fellow must have been keeping track of their stats and scores. So yeah, that's got to be a cool find. I mean, geez, it's signed by every single one of the Oilers. Hard to frame something like that. I guess you could frame it like that. But nice piece. Probably be good to have it with the original roster score sheets in there too. That's super cool. This will be probably worthwhile for us buying the box as it is. But we didn't even scratch the surface yet, so let's keep looking. Okay, so we're gonna look through the rest of the box here. We've got some little bits of swag. So Mark Messier, these would have been things that they probably gave out to people who were in the media or people who were part of the team. So you can see the little events. This is probably from a USA hockey team pin on here. Do a little research into that, pretty cool. And what do we have here? Oh, 84 Grey Cup ticket, unused, it looks like. So whoever bought this ticket didn't have a chance to go to that game, which is too bad, kind of too bad. Let's see, Hockey Night in Canada, Oilers versus Islanders, 84. So lots of patches. And there are patch collectors out there that are looking for things. So we'll put that in the hockey pile. Let's see, that's just a little card. Paul Coffey. Yeah, probably nothing too fancy. Another Grey Cup ticket, 1995. Looks like it was in somebody's pocket, like they meant to actually go to the game, but it didn't happen. So this one says, so there's a 1997 Grey Cup ticket in here, but there's also a ticket from Friday, October 1999. And this is when the Edmonton Oilers were honoring Wayne Gretzky. I can see two tickets in there that were never used. And there are some autographed pictures from the looks of things. So we'll have to go through. Oh, it's nice that it has a certificate of authenticity. That's always a good thing to find. So it looks like there's a couple autographs. You know, collectibles like this, what people will do, they'll frame them, they'll put them in their rec room, they'll put them on the wall. And yeah, they generally look good. So the ones that are autographed, of course, are a little bit better. Real game tickets, that's the kind of stuff we're into. We don't get into just the generic pictures too much at the store. These really don't hold a whole lot of value typically. So we might not keep those guys around the shop. But so far, finding a few really cool things. So some little collectible cards, Edmonton Trappers team photo, which we don't, they were used to be the home team for the California Angels back then, and they're not around anymore, the Trappers. This looks like some baseball prints and some photos. Okay, this is framed, Cal Ripken Jr. But it's not autographed, it's just sort of like just a collector's little item there. It's limited, but you know, it's not that limited because they made 12,500 of them. So there's a lot of people that might have one of these. So probably not overly valuable, maybe like 20, 30 bucks to the right person. When you get actual autographed items like this, they can be a little bit better. So yeah, and there's another Cal Ripken. So somebody was a Cal Ripken fan. An earlier souvenir program. So this is hockey, of course, probably 1940s. You can tell kind of by the way it's printed, the old programs like this. So Detroit Red Wings versus Indianapolis. So this program has got to be at 15 cents. I'm going to guess that this is from the 1940s. Because a lot of them later on were 25 or 35 cents. Yeah, 1947, 48. So guessed it. When you see a 15-cent price, generally a lot of comics or souvenir programs like that, if they're 15 cents, it's 1940s or 50s. This is late 40s. Cool piece. Somebody will want that. That's a good piece, good item. So little releases. Let's see. So this is CFL. Looks like a program from the All-Star Classic game. And yeah, just a little program. It was $1 at the time, but it is CFL. So again, there's guys who collect, you know, Edmonton Eskimos or other CFL stuff. So I'll have to go through some of these other programs that are here just to make sure they're not autographed, because some of these are. And I see David Pelletier and Jamie Sale, I guess when they were still married, on Time magazine, they've autographed this cover of Time. So another signed piece. Finding lots of signatures. This looks like it's fancy. It's in a pretty heavy collector case. So that's a Mario Lemieux rookie card. I believe this is from the '86 season. And obviously he thought it was pretty special because that is a big chunk of plastic to keep this in. That would probably deflect a bullet if you were shot. This is like James Bond protection here. If you had windows in your mobster car like that, that would keep the bullet out. But I don't think anybody's gonna be shooting at this hockey card, but it is in really nice condition, and you always wanna make sure you look for the corners to make sure they're crisp and in good shape. So this was a really hard set to find in good condition because anything with a colored back on it, it gets worn. So this is probably in about as good shape as you can get, just about. So that, you know, is a pretty good find. We'll have to look up the price on this, but that is his rookie card for sure. I remember my older brother had that set, and that was the best card in that set, 86, 87, so good find. So as I'm going through, there are also stacks of hockey cards. Now they're in elastic bands. Thankfully, they're in holders, so it's not gonna do any damage, but sometimes you see old cards, especially back in the 50s and 60s, when kids were just collecting them for the fun of collecting, they would wrap them in elastic bands. And usually your number one card and your last card, which is sometimes a checklist or the last card, are generally really damaged because of that. In this case, these ones will be fine because I think he was probably collecting back in the 90s when hockey cards and baseball cards were a really big deal. They've kind of come down a little bit in value, but the ones that are kind of pre 1987, 88 kind of range, anything older than that is a little bit more desirable because afterwards they really mass produce this stuff. So you have to be careful when you're buying. But let's go through some of these bundles and see what there is. Okay, so some of these are probably, you know, 1990, I could see like 94, 95. Maybe there were collectible chase sort of cards at that time, which were holograms. They did a lot of hologram stuff where they thought it'd be, you know, more special to include one like that in a set. So I'm not holding my breath for value on those ones, but you do see some early ones in here, and these are where the value actually is. So this is a Steve Yzerman rookie card. There's Ray Bourque, a couple Ray Bourque cards. Paul Coffey, popular around here because he's on the Oilers. That's his rookie. Mark Messier, Luc Robitaille rookie. So there are some pretty serious players. Wayne Gretzky cards from the 1980s. So, you know, these sorts of cards can be, you know, $20, $30 each and up. especially when you look at the corners on something like this, and that card is really in nice shape in there. So he was pretty fussy on condition. So it looks like he bought some good stuff. And the cards that are worth a little bit more, so you see this card is Wayne Gretzky, but that's just, you know, talking about him winning the trophy. The cards that are a little bit more desirable in the sets are his actual player card that give all his stats and information on the back. And at this time, he'd only been playing for a few years. You can see 3 years he'd been playing. He was in the WHA before then. So that is a pretty good find. That could be, you know, even potentially like $100 card. I'm not completely up to speed with all of my card prices, but I do remember which ones are a little bit better. So we'll check the values on these later. But so far, you know, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Luc Robitaille, some good stuff. So we'll keep digging through and seeing what else is in here. And a lot of Wayne Gretzky cards. These are a little bit newer, like 1990s. That one's a little bit different. So it says it's game film. So this must be footage from, let's see if I can hold it up to a light, if we can get a image. So this must be, yeah, image from them, 1996, that the actual footage from the film, New York versus Pittsburgh. It's kind of neat. You know, maybe something like this will have a little bit more value. We'll set that aside and have a look at it later on. Let's dig through the box a little more. Authenticated salutes, Wayne Gretzky. Again, you know, like they say, limited edition. 10,000 isn't all that limited, you know. But sometimes like little, you know, championship things like these would have mainly just been given away as a gift. Things like that can be good. More programs and brochures. And this is from 1999 when he was still being honored. Again, we'll have to dig through and look for autographs because I keep seeing these, and then, you know, there's more and more autographs of people in here. Here's an old one from Maple Leaf Gardens. This has got to be probably 1960s, I would say. I mean, look, no helmet. A few more pucks in the head. They figured out you had to wear a helmet. And goalies back then didn't even wear helmets or much for gear either. So let's see what else is in the box. We got some hockey pucks. So yeah, mainly a lot of trinkets and things like that. But things like this are still, you know, worth maybe $10 or something like that. So, you know, it's never, oh, there's a watch. It's always nice to kind of find a watch. And this is, it's a chronograph. I can tell it's got the clear back on it. Let's see what brand is this. Generally, if you see that kind of back like that, you know, that movement is usually in finer watches. And this is a, oh, Patek Philippe. Well, if this is real, which I would highly doubt that somebody would forget to leave a watch like this in the bottom of a box. If this is real, yeah, it's an expensive watch. If you're watch people watching this video, you probably know. So I'm not even gonna, you know, fathom a guess at what this thing would be worth if it was real. Maybe like something stupid, like $20,000 or something. I'm going to go ahead and say this is probably a replica, but we'll get it checked out, you know. Still a nice replica, though. I mean, look at the movement. That's pretty darn nice. If this thing was real, which I really don't think it is, it's marked 18 karat. I'm fairly certain that's stainless, which is a good sign that it's, you know, not legitimate. If it was, though, this would be over a $20,000 watch, and you'd see me actually jumping up and down and smiling and being super happy, but I'm reserving my joy because I don't think it's real. But it is a cool looking watch, and if I can get this thing repaired and working, I'll probably wear it. It's a nice looking piece. It's a triple register chronograph with moon phase, so it's got a lot of complications going on. So even though it might not be authentic, yet to be proven, but I'm almost 100% sure it's not, even though it might not be authentic, it is still a good looking watch, and somebody had to put a lot of time into it. I mean, these movements alone are very complicated. That's why they're called complications, you know. It's a cool thing. So I'm pretty happy. Not only did I get a bunch of really cool autograph stuff, you know, the 80s booklet with all the signed pictures and stuff on it, I got a cool little watch here, possibly for myself. So I think we'll do quite well in that box, and that's why I don't mind taking the risk on occasion to buy these sorts of things, because you never know what you're going to get inside, and it's a lot of fun to go through. But I had a sense that this was going to be neat stuff when he said there was autograph stuff in here. So overall, a good find today, a really good find. I mean, you couldn't ask for better, really. So thanks again for watching, guys. This was a pretty cool adventure today for me. I love going through these sorts of boxes. So
If you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you haven't come to our store, come check out our store. Look, it's a real store. We have stuff for sale here. You can come and buy from our shop in Edmonton, Alberta. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all soon. Bye for now.